Yes, good morning from my side, or is it? Yeah, it's still morning. Good to see so many bright minds and shiny eyes, and good to be back at the Twin Summit. So last year I was here as well, and I had the chance to walk around, which this year is unfortunately not given, but I really, really like this event, and therefore I wish you all good networking. But coming back to the topic, and thanks for raising the bar in what I am now saying. So as we all know, we live in very ambitious and complex times, but nevertheless, it's super important to stay ambitious. And talking about quantum and AI from the perspective of the technologies, obviously they go together, they empower themselves. Talking about quantum and AI from the perspective of a federal government, they are key technologies, and they are not only nice to have to us. So, because we should not forget that basically wealth, or let's phrase it the other way, innovation is the baseline of our wealth. And therefore, we will need new innovation to really keep up that level we're living on. And without these two technologies, it will not work. And I guess with the panel, and I will keep it very short, because personally I'm a bigger fan of listening to people discussing than to listening to single persons saying smart things. It's really important that we understand that we have to be ambitious, which does not necessarily mean to be able to do everything alone. We have to be an integral part of a supply chain. We have to be somebody, and this is true for both technologies. And therefore, as a federal government, I can tell you, we remain committed to these topics. So this is why I have my little notes. I was getting the numbers this morning. So only the BMBF, it's 1.6 billion we've put it into AI. For quantum, because it's not only us on the field, it's 500 million from us. But in total, with all the ministries, it's 2.2 billion. And if we add Fraunhofer, we add up to 3 billion. So that's something until 2026. And still, as of now, I have to say this quietly, but still, we really defensed everything on that budget. And you know how tough at the moment all the discussions are when it comes to federal budget. Nothing was touched there. And I hope this remains like that, and this is what we will fight for, because this really is crucial to our technology and to our serenity, but as well from a perspective of the federal government for research in that part, to really attract bright minds to come here, because alone we won't be able to do that, and we see that when we look into the startup market. We have a vibrant startup scene there, but as well we need a vibrant scale-up scene, and to be honest, we need this on a European level, and therefore I hope this was enough impulse for now, and then I'm happy to join the chat, so thanks for listening and enjoy the event.
Ich setze mich da außen. Einer in die Mitte. So, hi everybody. I'm Susanne Dehmel. I've got the pleasure of having this talk now. Once we have sorted ourselves, we're a little.
I feel kind of alone.
If someone wants to come up here, you feel welcome. We still have some free spaces. Mario and Elke, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to go a little deeper into what you put on the table in your impulse, and we heard you earlier, Elke, on how Infineon and you yourself personally look on AI and quantum and their role for the German economy, but maybe also the globe as a whole. Mario, in your short impulse, you said that AI and quantum computing are clearly identified as key future technologies, and that's why the government also invests in funding. And you said we need that to keep up our wealth and to keep the status that we have. Why is that so? What do you think? Why do we need to be good in these fields?
It is so because these technologies, and I mean, they're different, but in total, these are everywhere. So if it comes to health, everybody wants to be healthy. We want all the new products, all the new medicine, all the new stuff which comes out there, individual-based medicine, we just want to have it. If it comes to robotics, on the other side, we have to be compatible with whatever Chinese market. We have to do our transformation in the car sector, so we just have to have it. If it comes to personal optimization, I need my ChatGPT just to do something which I don't want to do, we need to have it. So it's basically there is no discussion that if we not keep up with other countries who are leaders in that perspective, we will just not be there, or at least not at the top 5 societies if it comes to technology, to wealth, to living standards. And therefore, it's crucial not for the sake of the technology, but just for our living standards. And this is why I said we just have to have it. And I phrase it that way because right now we are at the Quantum AI Summit, so everybody knows that. But we have to link that this has something to do with our wealth, with our health, with our living standards, because we are fascinated in technology. That's okay, that's good, I love it. But if I held that speech somewhere else, people might ask why? Why quantum? It's funny, okay, but why? And then we have to say, yeah, but if you want to be healthy, better watch out that we have the people in the quantum field.
All right. Elke, you said earlier that you also see both technologies as big problem solvers for the big challenges that we face, for example, with climate change. How do you, as a company, also prioritize your invests in the research in these fields? I mean, we heard a lot the last two days on how big are the efficiency gains that companies have. So that's pretty obvious, I think, for a company to invest in a field where you can gain something there. For quantum, it might be a little more difficult at this stage of the developments. How do you see that?
Yeah, for quantum, as you rightly say, you know, this is a bit further out, but still, you know, we have obviously, on the one hand, we invest in quantum technology, in quantum processors, that we want to be part, you know, of that development going forward. And then the second thing is, of course, we also want to, as much as we leverage AI today, we also want to leverage quantum tomorrow. We still have challenges in our supply chain, optimization of the supply chain. We can't solve today, even today with the current AI algorithms and the compute power we have today, they can't yet to be solved, let alone some of the problems you mentioned in health and pharmaceutical. So we are still looking, you know, to address untapped use cases today once quantum technology is available. And then also we are today already a supplier of security products. Your passport has an Infineon chip. Most likely your credit card has an Infineon chip. But we know with the compute power of quantum, you know, they can crack some of the encryption algorithm we use today, you know, to keep us all secure. So also here in terms of quantum cryptography, this is where we want to bring our expertise in. So several use cases, but yet to come.
You can both jump in.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And that's a bit unfair point to quantum, because AI had the little advantage that there were some, I would say, end-user features, and now everybody's fascinated again. So if we look at the AI winters which were there, and everybody was talking about the winter, and then OpenAI came up, and now it's on the top again, and quantum is still waiting. I mean, there's cool stuff with sensors, but I mean, let's face it. So if I go to a bakery and talk about a quantum sensor, might talk alone, at least if it's not outside of Berlin or Munich or wherever. So we are really, really lacking the thing in the end, or cool communication features, and it's there, but as now the politician in me, it's super easy to sell the stuff everybody has used. And that's the same problem for a company which has to defend invests in it will be good, and as politicians, like campaigning for it will be good. So if you have touched it, it's easier, and therefore for AI at the moment, again, it's a bit easier because it's a bit
we already had that ChatGPT moment
yes, and this
with
is
AI.
why we have to fight for quantum as well, because it will happen, but you never know when it happens.
Yeah, so that's, I think that's one of the challenges, but it's just at another stage of the development there. What I wanted to ask, because you mentioned the sum that Germany invests in the development of these technologies. Elke earlier showed us a slide with quite impressive numbers on how much is invested in the different parts of the world. And though it's an impressive sum, that's spent in Germany, and I think it was 43 billion overall Europe. There's still bigger sums in other regions of the world. Where do you see us? You said we have to be someone in the supply chain in these technologies, but do you see a special role of Germany, or how do we make that happen?
I mean, yes, if you look at the pure numbers, then, I mean, China, US, we don't have a chance in the end by market size. So, and that's a fact. And lucky if all the invests were summed up to 40-something, because I was just talking about the government. And if you look into US markets, for example, it's not just government spending. So it really sums up with the companies. And I said we have to be someone, because I think this is a very realistic, but still a good goal. We might not end up having, an open AI. But if we have good industry using it, and we have 20 or 30 strong players in the market producing the stuff they need, we can still have a good life. So, because I see things repeating. I mean, Facebook came up, we need a Facebook. Or Google came up, we need a search engine. We always need that thing. But if we can manage it to live in a federal system, that we have plenty and plenty of companies and many cities where you can live, in the end, that's something I can accept as a real success. Because I don't need 4 or 5, whatever big companies, and the rest is not working out. And I guess that's a realistic, or I hope, and that's a realistic view, to have a good life in Germany and in an interconnected Europe. And this is why I said we need to be someone, and we need to be in the supply chain. So as fancy the stuff is that, for example, OpenAI is doing, so if they need our parts, or building a quantum computer in that case is better, or quantum sensors, we are strong there. So whatever comes out, whatever car it will be, there will be German products in there. And as long this happens, they have to talk to us. They cannot push us from the table. And from a political perspective, to remain someone, this is the first, I would say, the first goal. And the second one, you're absolutely, I would take 5 open AIs, and we can have one in whatever, Cottbus, Wolfsburg, I don't care, I take them all. But from a realistic point of view, since we are growing, this is an aim, and this is why I said we need more scale-ups, because our investment circle is still not closed. We have good startups, we put lots and lots of money in there, but then they grow, and at least then the revenue streams goes to other destinations as well. And as long as we don't have that loop, and we can only build that loop together with industry, that's still a fact that there might be more money, but this is why we have to be more efficient and better, and I'm looking into that phases we are.
How's your view on that, Elke, on the role we need to play? Because when you said we have to be someone, I was thinking of Ralf Wintergerst yesterday opened the conference saying we have to play to win, not just play not to lose. And it sounded a little more defensive, I would say, but what you said. It's like we have to be one player in the game. We don't have to, dominate. Maybe that's just a realistic view, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, some of the technology becomes a standard, similar to like SAP became a standard. You don't differentiate yourself as a company anymore if you implement SAP. But you need to have it to be in the game, or an equivalent provider of that. So I think my biggest wish would be, first, I think we need reliability of the funding, and I think we all very much appreciate, the efforts that have put in. I think clearly in Europe, with our system, we sometimes have to challenge that. We don't know, what decisions will be made in the next 4 years, because we need longer-term investments. I think there is even a plan on quantum. Rightly so, they have a plan for where do we need to be in 2036, because that might very likely be the time until we really see a manifestation in reuse cases. So I think what all of us would help is something like, quantum as a service, that there is a centrally built quantum infrastructure where then people can tap in, also small and medium enterprise. We heard it before, for them it's even more challenging than for us in the large corporates to have the funds, but also the skills needed to work on these use cases. So quantum as a service, that there is like a central infrastructure where public and private, investors come in, and then people really have a low-level entry point to just use that for the use cases, and then just pay it as long as they use it, and because they won't have quantum use cases 365 days a year. So that could really be something that we can, even with lower investment volume, we can compete eye to eye with the heavy investments we see in Asia and in the US.
So because I think this must not be a difference. So Mr. Winterg has probably spoke, so I was not here, as a company. And surely as a company, I'm in it to win it, because otherwise I will never be that big player. But from the federal government perspective, I'm in it to win it against China, so they should just walk away. That's not a realistic view, which does not mean that we don't want to have the big companies. But in order to have the chance that this happens, we have to at least be under the top 5 in every important domain and have piece and parts and bits. Because SAP, I mean, they did not start to say we're in it to win it. It was 5 guys calculating stuff at IBM at nighttime. So, but then it became the big thing. But without an IBM, no SAP. So that's the truth. If they would have gone to IBM, that we are in it to win it, just leave the building, there would probably be no SAP. And this is why I'm stressing the supply chain point so much, because then it goes down to raw materials, it goes down to that stuff. And therefore, being a strong player everywhere, being a needed player when it comes to IP, when it comes to bright minds, when it comes to places to go to study, we are already good. And the next point is the scaling point, and that's more on the industry side, and therefore absolutely be in it to win it. There's no fun in being around. I'm with you. But from a governmental perspective, we have to build the ecosystem. And the worst thing, as a liberal in that case, is if politicians sit together and say, that's it, all the money on that bet. I mean, how often did that work? Look at the successful IT projects the government has made. Somebody name some? No. And therefore, it's better, in my opinion, to really build a strong ecosystem and basically let them grow.
So you say what you can do is, fund some of the developments that you need beforehand, and then the scaling is up to the businesses. I feel that with quantum, we've got the big challenge of that we're still quite an early development stage, but at the same time, we're already trying to prepare the ecosystem to get the skills into the user companies that they will need one day when we have enough quantum computers that can be used at scale. So I totally agree that it will be immensely helpful to have something as a service. But how do we achieve that? I think access to quantum computing power is something, and also to supercomputing is something that you have very strongly in mind. How do you tackle that problem?
I mean, absolutely. So maybe one step back to explain what we do. So if the quantum people, so there's Supra, there's Ion Trap, there's all that stuff, and that's the example I mean. So for sure the BMBF has to finance all of that stuff because we just don't know. But the first ones to be able to provide something as a service because it's stable and reliable, these are the winners. And then it's absolutely okay to put everything onto that horse. But beforehand, this is the point I wanted to stretch. And therefore, it's so important to do it. And if we have the ecosystem thing, then we are the next phase. We are the money phase to really then make a scale-up out there. And we are at the phase where we should not regulate it to death, because this is as well a risk that we are scared to grow. So I'm not sure if SAP would have the same success right now. So nobody knew what they were doing back then. I think HP was saying that as well when they started. So if they would have known what we're doing, there would still be orange trees. So and you really need the chance, or BioNTech. So that's actually a risk as well. Even if it works, that we are too scared to be too powerful. Just imagine how we talked about Facebook, political-wise. Oh no, that's bad, and Google it's bad, and Amazon is bad. Yeah, okay, what do we have now? Temu. I mean, it's the devil on earth in person. So yeah, there's no value in it for none of us, never, ever, not even for our grandkids. So, but then fighting Amazon due whatever reasons. And we really then have to be bright enough to shine and to really do it. And therefore, I think there has to be this fair ecosystem battle that the ones who have lost with their technology still will move over than to push the ones who are the winners, because otherwise we will never get enough talent to scale in our area.
That was almost the final words, because we are already running out of time, but I want to give Elke the chance also to maybe have a last wish towards the top politician sitting here.
No, I think you both hit already. Think big and think for the long run. You know, because AI is here to last, quantum is here to last. These are not things that will come and go within a 4-year government cycle. You know, these are topics that will keep us busy and hopefully keep us in the lead for the decades to come. And I think this decade-long thinking, this is, and think big. Yeah, we want to be winners in that, not just survive, we want to thrive, you know, in this new era. And that should be the ambition, but I hear that loud and clear from you as well.
So
maybe a little thing to add, and this is why I would really ask you all, and now you get a tough time, but really, really talk to the people of the ministries, really talk to the government officials, not only to the politicians, yes, for sure, stress them, but we are all basically here for a period of time. But the ministry resists, so the stuff I was just reading out from BMBF, which I'm very proud of, other people have done it. And it's really important to involve them because they give the stability, whereas then the politicians, in the end, they give a bit of direction, but therefore really, really involve them, talk to them, because what they don't know, they can write it down for me, and then I can't execute it. So they normally never get the credit they should, and therefore really, really involve them, talk to them. That's important because these ones are the ones who give you stability.
And of course, we have all invited them for the
I
conference.
know.
So they're here. So
and we hear some busy of them afternoon too. Now.
Thank you so much for being here, for having this conversation, and I think we'll have many more in the years to come. And good luck for you, Mario, with all the negotiations to secure this long-term investment.
Still successful. Still successful.
And thank you so much, and this applause is yours, I think.
Thank you.
Bye.